Hello, everyone. It's my 30th birthday. I am happy. I am depressed. I am amazed. I have a whole range of emotions right now, to say the least. And as you know, in previous years, I've shared my favorite films from each year I've been alive and my favorite comic book films from each year I've been alive. Today, I wanted to bring you my favorite sci fi films from each year I've been alive. Before I continue, I want to give a quick shout out to Hey, it's Keely, Orange Kubrick Media. Joe and Janet have amazing reviews. Anna reads comics and Lauren Elizondo. Check out those channels. They are amazing creators and people. I'll have a link to their channels in the description below. So if you want to go talk more in depth about these films, feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite sci-fi films from every year you've been alive, and let's have a good conversation. Starting a list off in 1991 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is not only one of the greatest action films, one of the greatest sequels, this is one of the greatest films ever made. I love Arnold, Linda Hamilton in this, Robert Patrick, Edward Furlong. James Cameron makes a tour de force film here that shows us the meaning of what it means to be human. I absolutely love this. State-of-the-art effects with the T-1000, the soundtrack by Brad Fiedel. Oh, this is pure cinema and science fiction at its finest. After that in 1992 is Universal Soldier. Yeah, it can't get any better than Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren in the same film. I love this sci-fi tale of super soldiers and all the action. This is just a cool movie. Like, totally, it is amazing seeing how far sci-fi has come, but like this era was pretty much the action film era, and it's nice seeing science fiction and action combined. If you're a fan of films like Starship Troopers or Soldier, you're definitely going to love Universal Soldier. It spawned many sequels, but this original is among one of my favorites, and definitely my favorite from 1992. After that in 1993 is Demolition Man. Demolition Man, wow, I think of the seashell, I think of Taco Bell, but this film, if we keep going further, this may be the future, and it's kind of scary. I love Sylvester Stallone in this. Sly and Sandra Bullock are great. You have a young Benjamin Bratt, you have Dennis Leary, and who could forget Wesley Snipes as the villain? I mean, he pretty much inspired Dennis Rodman dyeing his hair in basketball in the 90s. I absolutely love Wesley Snipes here opposite Sylvester Stallone. Such an amazing, funny, cool action film. And that eye scene, oh my god, don't get me started on that eye scene. I was so freaked out on that scene when I was a kid. After that in 1994 is Stargate. Stargate is directed by Roland Emmerich, and it's from the same people who did Independence Day. It inspired Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. I like this underrated film. It's aesthetic with Egypt and these aliens going to a different world. That's just a cool premise, and it has underrated performances from Jane Spader and Kurt Russell. Even though it's slow, it does have an action-packed finale, and what can I say, without this film, we would not have the amazing show of SG-1. After that in 1995 is 12 Monkeys. This is a crazy, crazy film inspired by a French short film, and it follows it pretty closely. I love Bruce Willis and Madeline Stowe in this. Brad Pitt is absolutely nuts. I love his role in this. Terry Gilliam gives it a unique style, and if you're a fan of his films, you'll definitely love 12 Monkeys. It later on inspired a Sci-Fi Channel original series. After that in 1996, I have two films ties, starting with Independence Day. Independence Day, what can I say? I remember seeing the trailers with It's the End of the World as We Know It by REM at the Super Bowl, seeing all the TV spots, Jeff Goldblum in this, Bill Pullman with his iconic speech, Randy Quaid, and who could forget Will Smith? He'll show us a close encounter. I love freaking Will Smith in this movie. This is a great, fun, action sci-fi film, and it brings the old monster horror movies and alien invasion movies and puts it into the stratosphere of the 90s. Also tied is Star Trek First Contact. This is a film that I actually saw the teaser to on Independence Day when my brother took me to go see it in theaters, as well as the Mission Impossible VHS. I love the Next Generation crew fighting the Borg and this time traveling. This is one of the best Star Trek films, And definitely the best out of the Next Generation. Patrick Stewart gives his finest performance as Captain Picard. Brent Spiner is terrific as Data. And who could forget the direction from Jonathan Frakes? This is also one of the last Star Treks to use model ships before it went all CGI. Overall, this film still holds up among one of the best Treks. After that, in 1997, is The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element, yeah. Mila Jovovich in an early role. Chicken! I love the direction here. Bruce Willis. I mean, it's pretty much like Die Hard in space, but who could forget Bruce Willis in this? Chris Tucker, Gary Oldman as a villain. So many actors are in this film, even Luke Perry in a cameo at the beginning. Overall, this is one of the most cool original science fiction stories I've ever seen. It's almost like an anime come to life. This movie, while weird, while kind of crazy, zany, and comedic, is still a unique science fiction film after all these years, and I absolutely love The Fifth Element. After that, in 1998, is Dark City. This is a wonderfully directed Alex Proyas film. It very much is like The Matrix meets The Crow. It made me question my reality when I first saw it. The ending song on the battle was used in so many movie trailers. I love Rufus Swell in this. You also have Jennifer Connelly, William Hurt, and Kiefer Sutherland. This is just a cool movie with so many twists and turns and just creepy atmospheres. Oh, this movie just left me with my jaw on the floor. For the year of 1999, I have The Matrix. The Matrix is another groundbreaking film that made me question my own reality. You choose the red pill or the blue pill, you know. Keanu Reeves. Whoa. That dodge the bullet scene, I absolutely love Neo dodging the bullet. The first use of bullet time. Trinity, help! I love that. Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus. He's beginning to believe. You have Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith. I love it when Neo is just like, my name is Neo. And then who could forget Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity and Joe Pantoliano as Cypher. Goddamn you, Cypher. Overall, they don't make films like this. And, you know, other people around my age, they equate Lord of the Rings as their Star Wars. But for me, The Matrix was that one film that was my personal Star Wars for my generation. And Matrix was a groundbreaking film that, like Star Wars, changed filmmaking forever. After that, in 2000, is Titan A.E. This is a great cartoon from DreamWorks and Fox. I love Bill Pullman in this. You have Matt Damon, Drew Barrymore, Janine Garofalo, Nathan Lane, and John Leguizamo, along with Ron Perlman. This is just an amazing cartoon and kind of shocking. This isn't really for kids. Like, Earth gets blown up at the beginning of this movie, and the humans are almost extinct, fighting this alien race of pure energy called the Dredge. This is just a cool film with an amazing soundtrack and visuals, and I love seeing 2D animation blended with 3D CGI, and we don't get too many films like that. So if you love Anastasia, you'll love this. It's from the directors of Secret and Nim. After that, in 2001, is Donnie Darko, aka the film that always makes me want to listen to Mad World by Gary Jules. No, really, this is a cult classic, and Jake Gyllenhaal gives one of his most superb performances, along with his sister Maggie Gyllenhaal. You also have Jenna Malone, Patrick Swayze, Drew Barrymore. Oh man, so many people are in this movie, and I love that it's set with a backdrop of the 80s in this small town. So many comedic moments, so many creepy, kind of crazy moments, and it's just one mind bender of a film that by the end of it, you're just like, wow, okay, it all makes sense now. And the director's cut does add a bit more with time travel. I love both versions of the film, and Donnie Darko is just one unique, original science fiction film that I highly recommend everyone to watch. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is at his finest. I mean, yeah, anybody who's been in high school, you know what it's like to be filled with angst. This definitely fit my emo years. After that, in 2002, is Minority Report. Minority Report is an underrated Steven Spielberg film, Tom Cruise performance, and it's a great Philip K. Dick adaptation. I just love the whole premise of Minority Report. These precogs can basically sense when a crime is about to be committed before it ever happens. And that's such a cool premise. And then the main character ends up getting framed and he's being hunted for a crime he has not committed yet. So there's a whole mystery of why they're chasing after him and who set him up. I absolutely love the visual effects. This is just a cool science fiction film, and you know, it's way before Edge of Tomorrow and Oblivion. Spielberg is always great when he goes into science fiction territory. This is just one good film. Even if you have family members who aren't fans of sci-fi, they're going to love this film with the mystery elements and the tragic backstory with the characters. Overall, it's just an entertaining film, and yeah, it inspired the Xbox Connect, so what else can I say? In 2003, I have The Matrix Reloaded. Yes, this film isn't the first, but it's an underrated film and is enjoyable, and if The Matrix was about birth, The Matrix Reloaded has themes of life. It starts off slow, but once it gets to the Agent Smith scene in the park, and then the high wage scene after the Merovingian meeting with Mona Lisa Overdrive, man, this film just rocks. I absolutely love this sequel, the new characters they add, and just seeing Neo just go full Superman. And it left it open for like a good conclusion. To me, Matrix 3 kind of dropped the ball a little, even though I like the Zion battle. But Matrix Reloaded, I feel like gets a lot of flack that is some deserved and mostly undeserved. After that, in 2004 is I, Robot. This is another wonderfully directed Alex Proyas film, this time starring Will Smith, and it's based on an Isaac Asimov story. This is a cool movie because Will Smith is a police officer who has a prejudice against robots. We get to see that later on. But it's an AI who's being framed, and other AIs are starting to go rogue and become self-aware and start turning against humanity. Overall, it's a cool premise with artificial intelligence, and it has one of the best Will Smith lines in film.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Yeah, you can't get any better than Will Smith in a science fiction film. After that, in 2005, is Revenge of the Sith. This movie brought everything full circle, concluded the prequel trilogy on a high, and showed us the tragic fall of not only the Jedi, but Anakin Skywalker. This is a tragedy at its finest from George Lucas, the last of his Star Wars. And to me, this is a perfect conclusion and full circle moment for the saga. Seeing Obi-Wan, I mean, Ewan McGregor was amazing. He was pretty much like Alec Guinness. He was a fully realized Obi-Wan. He reminded me so much of Alec Guinness. The final battles were just phenomenal and epic in every way. After that, in 2006 is A Scanner Darkly. The Scanner Sees Everything. This is a wonderfully directed film from Richard Linklater. It's also based on a Philip K. Dick novel as well. I love how they rotoscope the actors. This is one trippy film that I watched late at night on HBO, and I have to say, if you don't do drugs, you know what it'd be like doing drugs after seeing this movie. And I recommend watching it at a late time, like 11 or 12. Do it at night, watch it at night, and it'd be one of the most trippiest films you've ever seen. I guarantee it. I love Keanu Reeves in this, Winona Ryder, Robert Downey Jr., and Woody Harrelson. In 2007, I have Transformers. More than meets the eye with this film. The sequels get a bit of their criticisms, but the first film is overlooked now. It is still a fine film directed by Michael Bay. Love Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox in this. The Autobots and Decepticons, the soundtrack. Man, I jammed out to Doomsday Clock by Smashing Pumpkins when this came out. Overall, it's a cool film. If you like films like Small Soldiers, you may like Transformers. This is a cool film that brings the Transformers to life. And I love it because you had that Mars Rover teaser. You didn't see the Transformers. So like when you saw the film, you were surprised when you saw Optimus Prime and Megatron and all the iconic characters. In 2008, I have Doomsday. Doomsday is a film that's like, what if Death Race 2000 met Mad Max? It has Runa Mitra, and it's a cool kick-ass movie where a virus pretty much causes this post-apocalyptic world. And as a fan of Mad Max, and to some degree Resident Evil Extinction, it definitely is a good post-apocalyptic movie. And after COVID this past year, might be the perfect time to revisit this movie. In 2009, I have Star Trek. This is how you do a reboot. And it's a film that's a reboot, a prequel, and a sequel at the same time. It brought new life into the Star Trek franchise. I love all the younger actors and the characters. Chris Pine, Zachary Quino, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, the great late Anton Yelchin. Who could forget Eric Bana as the villain? Don't tell me it didn't happen. I saw it happen. It did happen. And then I was so surprised with Leonard Nimoy back as Spock. This is just an amazing film and definitely my favorite Star Trek film out of the film series. After that, in 2010 is Tron Legacy. This film is biodigital jazz, man. Joseph Kosinski and his directorial debut gave us the world of Tron. We felt like we were actually there. I love the use of IMAX 3D. You have Garrett Hedlund in this, Jeff Bridges. I love him more as Clue. He's cool as Flint. He's like the Big Lebowski dude, but Clue, end of line, man. Then you have Olivia Wilde and Michael Sheen. Overall, this is such a cool, vibrant film, and who could forget Daft Punk's iconic score? It's such an epic soundtrack. If Tron was Star Trek the Motion Picture, Tron Legacy's The Empire Strikes Back. After that in 2011 is Source Code. This is another underrated Jake Gyllenhaal science fiction film that it just blew my mind when watching it. It's an underappreciated film, and I think very much a hidden gem by today's standards. This is such a cool film of having this guy go back into the past, reliving events over and over and over. And there's a mystery. We get more answers the more and more he goes through these loops with the source code. Michelle Monaghan's also in this film. This is an underrated sci-fi film. If you have never seen Source Code, I highly recommend it. After that in 2012 is Cloud Atlas. This is a wonderful adaptation of a novel, and as one of the directors is the Wachowskis. This is just a cool film that shows us the consequences of life. Can our decisions impact our next lives? And it's so cool seeing all these actors play different characters in different time periods and how each story is so interwoven and interconnected into the others. Tom Hanks is in this, Halle Berry, Hugh Grant. This is just an amazing epic of a science fiction film. In 2013, I have Man of Steel. Man of Steel is one of those films I wasn't really expecting to like, and I absolutely love this film. It's pretty much like an alien invasion story. Think Superman if it meant Independence Day. That's what Man of Steel is. Hans Zimmer's iconic score. You have Zack Snyder directing this. Henry Cavill in his first time as Superman. Michael Shannon as Zod. Amy Adams as Lois. And you have Russell Crowe as Jor-El. Overall, this is an enjoyable film that any Superman fan and any science fiction fan would enjoy. For 2014, I have Interstellar. This film is a stellar film and an underappreciated film from Christopher Nolan. I love Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Michael Caine, Jessica Chastain in this film. Even Ellen Bernstein at the end. It's such a tragic, kind of gratifying but just sad ending at the same time. Seeing humanity on the brink of dying, seeing how the theory of relativity works in space travel. Overall, this is such an emotionally powerful film. I was almost going to give up being a filmmaker. I had a bad filmmaking experience and I didn't want to make films anymore. I didn't even want to watch movies. And my dad took me to go see this in theaters. We went to go see it. And I have to say, this film made me fall in love with movies all over again. It showed me what movie magic really is. And it reminded me of why I and many others love filmmaking in the first place. After that in 2015 is Mad Max Fury Road. Witness! Mad Max Fury Road. As a Mad Max fan, I absolutely love seeing a Mad Max film in theaters. Even though we don't have Mel Gibson, we have Tom Hardy, and then who could forget Charlize Theron as the kick-ass Furiosa. We also have Hugh Keys Burns as Immortan Joe, the same guy who played the toe cutter in the original Mad Max. And Mad Max Fury Road is directed by George Miller, which at his age, this film is more energized than films from people in their 20s. It also has the best Junkie XL score. This film will go to the roads of Valhalla, shiny and chrome. After that in 2016 is 10 Cloverfield Lane. This film is a good standalone movie. That was probably a standalone movie, but is in fact a Cloverfield sequel. This is a science fiction film hidden into a thriller suspense film. John Goodman plays one of the most evil roles I've ever seen him play in this, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, as always, is just great. This film is a terrifying film that has you on the edge of your seat, and you're wondering what is true, what is false, what's real, what's not, and by the time it gets to the third act, you know exactly what this film is, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening. And it's a wonderful sequel to Cloverfield, and a film that stands on its own. After that in 2017 is Blade Runner 2049. This is one of the best sequels ever made, and it's actually, in my opinion, superior to Blade Runner. I love Ryan Gosling in this as an android. You have Ana de Armas. Harrison Ford returns as Deckard, and then you have Jared Leto. A wonderfully directed film from Denis Villeneuve. I cannot wait to see what he does with Dune. This is pure sci-fi at its finest. I love the old filmmaking techniques still used in this modern sci-fi epic. Overall, what can I say? Blade Runner is one of the finest science fiction films I have seen in recent memory. In 2018, I have Ready Player One. As a fan of the Ernest Cline novel, I was highly looking forward to the film. While Steven Spielberg does omit certain things from the novel, he crafts one of the finest pop culture pieces I've ever seen. I love the energy. Again, a film like Spielberg makes a film more exciting than some people in their 20s and 30s. Him and George Miller did that with their sci-fi films. But Ready Player One just is filled with so much magic and love. If you're a fan of sci-fi, if you're a fan of pop culture, fan of films, this is a movie for you. After that in 2019 is Alita Battle Angel. Rosa Salazar is Alita Battle Angel, and she does not stand down in the presence of evil. This is a wonderfully directed Robert Rodriguez film, directed in the style of a James Cameron movie. One of the best manga anime adaptations I've ever seen. I love Christoph Waltz in this as Dr. Ito. You also have Jennifer Connelly and Mahershala Ali. This is just a cool film that deserves a sequel. For 2020 is Tenet. Tenet, when I first saw it, gave me a headache. It did. But even though it's not what I consider to be Christopher Nolan's best films, I think it's among one of his most ambitious, and it was an original science fiction film. I mean, just look at the use of inversion. See what I mean? Yeah, you're gonna have to use subtitles to see what I just said. Basically, it was just what I said a while ago, but backwards. I love John David Washington in this film. I love Robert Pattinson. Kenneth Branagh pretty much plays the role he did in Jack Ryan. Elizabeth Debicki just makes this as Kenneth Branagh's wife. This is just a cool film that actually is better when you watch it in multiple viewings. Is it enough to save cinema? I don't think you should make a film so incoherent and requires multiple viewings to go see in theaters. It's not going to save cinema, but I did enjoy watching it at home on Blu-ray, and it's one of those films by the fourth or fifth viewing I kind of began to fall in love with. Definitely one of the most original science fiction films of recent memory. Anyway, that does it for my favorite sci-fi films from each year I've been alive. I'm going to kind of go into mourning. I'm going to celebrate. I question what I've done in life, what I've yet to do. But in the meantime, feel free to comment down below. Let me know your favorite sci-fi films. You can also follow me on the Stardust app at Fred Film Fanatic and Instagram at Fred Film Fanatic. Feel free to subscribe for more videos and check out these videos for more content. Till next time.